Hi, welcome back or welcome to my channel if you're new. My name is Laura. Hi, hello, welcome. Today we are going to do update 2 in my Pan Those Eyeshadows Project Pan for 2022. First, I just want to say thank you, Alexi Shostin. There's a piece of fluff flying around. Thank you to Alexi Shostin for creating this project. This is a fantastic project that so many people here on YouTube and Instagram and everywhere do. This is a project that is centered around your eyeshadows and hitting pan, so the name would suggest. And what that means is you hit the bottom or like the metal part where the eyeshadow is pressed into, if you are not familiar with eyeshadows and everything like that, or panning, I guess. So I have a not super exciting update, but we are going to roll something out and roll something in its place. So we'll get there when we get there, but I have the color story swatched out on my hand in the order that we're going to talk about them. So starting from up here down to this shade down here is how we're going to talk about the eyeshadows today. So I'm not going to dilly-dally too much. I'm just going to start talking about the eyeshadows and let you know everything that I used, all that jazz. So over here, I'm going to have clips of these shadows as they were last month. I don't know if I'm going to put in the intro and last month. If they have multiple videos, they will be up here somewhere. So I had a shade called Stoneface by Colourpop in as the first shadow, which is that super, super light gray. That swatch has been built up multiple times on my hand, swatching over and over. So at the intro, we didn't use this shadow once when I rolled this in. This past month, we used it an additional 5 times, and this is what the eyeshadow is looking like now. There is a decent dip going on in this shade, as you can hopefully see as I tilt it downward. So we're not at pan yet. I still think the pan is a long way off on this one. However, I still enjoy using this. I have all these shadows in my look today somehow. So this was kind of blending out some crease shadows, especially in the minty kind of shade. But I am continuing to use this. I enjoy it. I'm not like annoyed that I'm using it. We have used this a total of 12 times. So to reach I can roll it out without using one of my vetoes. I need to use this 8 more times the next month. And I think I can get there. I don't know for sure. I would really love to hit pan on that shade, but I don't think we're going to. I really love using this shade as with my red P. Louise base. I had a couple looks where I like buffed it out and it made this really, really beautiful, like super hot pink kind of color. I even had it like on my lips, like the P. Louise, and then I like buffed on Stoneface onto my lips shade, and it looked like super hot pink. I had a video of it. I can't remember what video it was, if I'm being quite honest. Maybe my deck of panning. I'll have it linked in the cards and in the description box, but I really liked that look. And this shade really does kind of work really well with that. The next shade that we have to talk about is the mint color that is like predominantly taking over this eye look. And that comes from my Glamlight Ice Cream Dream palette. And this one has also been in since the introduction. I mean, we're on update 2. It's not like a ton of things have rolled in and out. So like there's that. But this shade has been in since the introduction. Again, it was a shade that was not really touched at all. Josh is outside my window. Okay, so it was a shade that wasn't really touched at all, but we have put some use into it over the past couple months. So as you can see, there's a dip. Yes, there is. It's very hard for me to see the camera right now, but hopefully you can see the dip in this shade. I don't have pan yet, and part of me was thinking like, for the past month, I've been thinking to myself, like, this is the shade I'm going to just veto out, and using it today and being re-inspired in my makeup since quitting my job. If you missed that video, I will post it, but this is the first video I'm filming, and like the first time after, well, I guess the second time I'm doing my makeup after quitting my job, and I feel so inspired now. Like, I am so inspired to dive back into color and really enjoy like the makeup that I have and the makeup that I've been loving. So I am going to continue to have this in. I was really expecting myself to roll this out and like roll something in its place, but I love this. And I am so close to touching every single shadow in this palette. I am over halfway to touching every single shade. There's 30 shadows in here, and only 13 of them have not been used this year so far. So my goal is to touch every single shade in my collection this year. Maybe I'll like update you guys quarterly on how that's going. I have a spread in my bullet journal that I'll show and everything like that in that video. So let me know if you would be interested in seeing that this month. It would have to come like this month or next month to go over the usage that I had for Q1, I guess, for January through March. So let me know if you want to see like a video on like how I've been using all of my eyeshadows. It wouldn't be like how I'm using them, but it would be like which eyeshadows I've used. And there's like 3 palettes that I've like used every shade. That is a long tangent. That was a very long tangent to say, like, I am still working on that one. We used Glamlight Mint Chocolate twice, so not great. But again, I was not inspired to use color the past month, really the past couple months, but now that we've quit that job, we're getting back into it. I'm feeling like myself again. So I will be happy to use mint kind of colors like this. They're some of my absolute favorite and perfect for springtime. So absolutely great palette time to use. What am I trying to say? Great time of year to use that palette. That is what I'm trying to say. The next shade comes from my Tarte Tartist Pro palette. This is like an OG Ride or Die like travel palette for me. She's seen it all as I have. So I really enjoy this palette, and it doesn't look as loved as I feel like it should for kind of globetrotting with me. The shade was touched, like you can definitely see the Tarte is worn off in the lettering of the shadow. They're all embossed or imprinted with Tarte on the shades except for the circle pans. And I'm happy to say that the shadow has no longer any Tarte logo or imprinting in it, and there is actually a pretty decent dip. So what I found out that I like using this shade for is like an all over the lid. So I just take this shade when I would go to the office. I would take this shade Bold, buff it all over the lid and blend it into the crease. And then I would take the shade Libertine, which is the bottom shade in here. I would take that and kind of tap it all over. So it was a super, super easy, quick look. So I didn't have to like worry and fuss about it in the morning. I just threw on one shade and I was good to go. The only downfall is I found out that that is how I really love to use this shade after the last week that I worked there. So I probably won't be using this in that capacity just because I want to like flex my creativity again now that I have more time to myself in my day. Man, I like can't stop. Like I don't know. So I am sad that I only found out I like to use that the last week that I worked at that job, but I'm hoping that I can, when I'm just like, I need to like put on a look to run out the door quick, like not that I have to, but sometimes you just feel a little bit better when you put a little bit makeup on and like take time and effort into yourself. So that's how I would use these two together. But I am enjoying this, and I definitely think that I could hit pan by next update. I don't foresee it happening, but I definitely could, if that makes sense. The next shadow I have is actually from this, and I'm going to hold it backwards just because it's a Natasha Denona shade, so you can see like the things. I'm covering it up now, but this was an untouched shade. Haley had sent me this palette. She actually sent me 2 palettes, and I had some of the shadows, so I like mixed and matched the palettes, and I just spoiled it. So this is what the palette is looking like now, and this is what the shade is looking like now. Surprising enough, I have used this 5 times. I will say I am noticing that I'm not reaching for this shade, or it's putting some usage on my subculture on the back burner. So even though, well, I'm going to exercise my second veto. I'm giving myself 12 vetoes. Theoretically, it's 1 for each month of the year. I'm going to give myself my second veto, and I'm not going to work on this anymore. It is taking away from me using my ABH Subculture brow shade, Mercury. And I mean, yes, I have it in this look as kind of like the winged out look, but I can use so many other shades. Like there's shades in the Tarte palette that are similar. There's a shade in my Dreamy 2, which is in this project that we'll talk about in a moment. And then there's shades in my Subculture. There's a shade in my Subculture that's similar to this. So I am going to roll this out. I'm going to exercise my veto. I shouldn't have brought this in the first place. There was a stipulation in my rules where I can, I don't have to work on shades that'll take away from my Subculture, which is my Pan That palette. So I shouldn't have brought this in, but I did, thinking like, oh, I can use them in different ways. But 20 uses on this is a stretch when I have 15 more to go, and I still have a bunch of my other shade left. So I know I'm not going to hit pan in this. So I'm just going to cut my losses now. I'm going to roll this out and I'm going to roll something else in its place in this video. The last eyeshadow comes from my Nabla Dreamy 2. I keep like flirting and like flying this palette in this video, but the last shade comes from my Dreamy 2. This one was in, the palette was in last month for a different shade that we hit pan on. And then something just wanted me to reach for my more recent palette, and the panning gods randomly selected this shadow. This was Libertine. It's a beautiful, glittery, beautiful shade. I do have it. I don't know how well you'll be able to see it. It is in my look. I have a green from the Glamlight palette, and then that kind of to wedge the brown into the green. So the shade that we are working on is Libertine. It's a beautiful, glittery, pressed, I don't know if it's glitter, if it's eyeshadow. There is glitter fragments in it, but they're like very, very tiny. It's such a beautiful shadow. It is so beautiful. And this is what it's looking like now. So no pan in it. However, there is a definite dip. I have only reached for this 7 times, so not a whole heck of a lot. But I have a feeling I will be able to hit pan by the next update. I for sure will hit pan by the next update because that shadow is super, super easy to use. Obviously, I can incorporate it in some colorful looks like I've done today. I have every single shade from this rotation in my eye look today, plus maybe like 2 other ones, like a cream color and then something else. Another mint shade that was in the Glamlight. Anyway, tangent aside, we didn't hit pan in anything, and I don't even have a bonus pan to share with you. Like, that's how like meh about makeup I have been over the past month. But I am going to roll this shadow out, so we are going to roll something in its place. And if I was prepared, I'd have my spreadsheet and everything up, but just give me 1 second, please. Okay, so I have my eyeshadow spreadsheet up. If you don't know, I think I usually link it down below in the description box, my whole running list of eyeshadows. I did do a depot and declutter of some of my Juvia's Place eyeshadows because that brand said some unsavory things, and I'm like about ready to do the same thing with ABH. So ABH is on my chopping block or on my naughty list as well because of some of the crap that they're pulling, just supporting some the Anastasia is supporting some like propaganda posts and everything. So they're on my shit list as well, to be quite honest. But for totally different reasons between the 2 brands, Juvia's Place and ABH. So I have decluttered some of my Juvia's Place shadows, and I don't think I have updated my spreadsheet accordingly because that is a big undertaking since they're all like singles now. So there is that. However, if I roll a shade that I don't have, we're gonna like cross that bridge when we get there. The chances of it happening are slim, but it could happen. So I have shades 2 to 732, which I had to like remember. I can't see in my monitor that well. So we have the shades 2 to 732 in my Pretty Random app, as you can see, and I am just going to shake her, and we have shade 188. Oh, I'm excited. That is going to be a fun shade to use, and I am a little nervous because it is a color that I'm not super keen on wearing, and now I have a cat in my lap, so I can't actually get up. So we rolled a Natasha Denona shade out, and we roll another one in her place, and I'm actually so excited. It's a metallic shade. I have an idea what the color is. I don't 100% know. I haven't opened this up, but this is my green brown palette, which is like my favorite palette of all time from her, which is sad because I don't use it as much because I have this habit of not wanting to use shades that or palettes that I'm like, I love it, then I just don't use it, which is like so dumb. So it is, I was thinking it was a different one, but I know I can use this. I haven't used a shade similar to this in my Fantasy Self Project pan that I was doing with Haley last year. So the shade we are going to roll in is this guy here. This is Natasha Denona Green Brown. This is the shade Cloudy Blue. And I'm not going to lie, I have a hard time figuring out ways to pair with shades like this. A blue, like a denim blue with like a gold shift. They're very challenging for me, but I am excited for the fact that I am going to be using this. Actually, that kind of ties into the color story super, super well. So that is now Natasha Denona Cloudy Blue, and that is our color story for the next month, for March. It's a little bit more, blue mint than I would have wanted for March. I definitely am gravitating towards greens right now, but I think that this color here is going to tie in super, super well with these cool tones, and hopefully I can just like knock the cool tones out for my, what month is it? My April update. We can have some more springy kind of eyeshadows. It's hard to say like this is what I want for a month when it's a random based project pan, so there's no like rhyme or reason to what really gets pulled. But I am hoping that next month I have some rollouts. I don't think the Natasha Denona shade will be rolled out, but who knows? There's been crazier things have happened for me. Her cream, or not cream formula, her metallic formula is super, super creamy, and I can definitely hit pan within a month if I am determined. If I'm like, this is the shade that we're hitting pan in, I can hit pan in it. But if not, and I'm just kind of like floating and flirting between all of the palettes, I'm not expecting pan to show. But what I am excited for is to actually have this palette out on my desk. So that is it. This is my update for my Pan Those Eyeshadows. Here is the color story again that we are working on for the next month, foreseeable future. I'm not entirely sure yet, but thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys for just sticking with me through like the highs and lows on this channel. I truly appreciate it, and everyone and anyone that's reached out over the past couple weeks with regards to like me quitting my job and just being so unbelievably stressed, and like the chronicles of like day by day updates leading up until like my last day at my job over on Instagram. I just appreciate you guys so much. Thank you guys so much. I hope you guys are staying healthy, sane, and safe, and we'll catch you in the next video. Bye.